What's up, guys? MMA Professor. I'm here to do Strikeforce and M1 Global. Fedor versus Silva, I guess, is the technical name of the event. And I guess M1 Global actually matters, even though nobody cares that they exist. Strikeforce basically thought they were, in it with M1 Global, didn't want to get into the whole thing, but they've successfully used M1 Global for their fighters and left them completely out of the marketing equation, which is thumbs up. Great job, Strikeforce, because M1 Global is shady, and you totally use them, which is awesome. But here we go. I'm going to go on this. I was going to do this video, but I'm going to do it anyways. Saw some good videos on it, so thought I'd give my 3 cents because, normally you say 2, but my opinion is worth, let's be honest, more than normal people's. So, the first fight, Chad Griggs against Gian Villante. Don't know much about Gian Villante. Don't know much about Chad Griggs aside from the fact that, he had way too much muscle mass early on in his career. Seemed to have trained cardio harder in his fight against Bobby Lashley. A fight that nobody gave him a chance to win, but he did. Survived a vicious onslaught, so, came back to win. Not going to give my pick on this one because I don't know enough about either fighter to, kind of pull the wool over your eyes that I actually know more than anyone else. So let's just pray, hope and pray that neither of these guys gets anywhere near the heavyweight tournament. That's the other thing I wanted to say too, because you got to be careful. Guys saying, guys in the tournament saying, making bold claims that whoever wins this tournament is the #1 heavyweight in the world. Bar none. Doesn't matter. Not given the options that, tournaments, this is not a tournament, by the way. I don't consider this a tournament. I consider it a joke in terms of how the brackets operate. That's a whole nother video that I tried to make, and I got pissed off, so I just completely didn't make it at all. Making bold claims like that, whoever wins, okay, so, Chad Griggs wins his reserve fight, and 2-3 fighters get injured, so he steps in, now all of a sudden he's in the semifinals, and he somehow wins, and now he's in the finals, and another fighter comes in. So Chad Griggs can conceivably win this tournament, okay? Chad Griggs wins the tournament. He's the #1 heavyweight in the world? Really? Really? You're going to make that claim? Okay. Anyways. On to the second heavyweight. By the way, both, I think, Griggs and Villante can make 205 and shouldn't be in the heavyweight tournament anyways. That just proves how shallow the heavyweight pool is. Valentin Overeem against Ray Sefo. This fight is... How do you pick this one? Valentin Overeem, he's better on the ground than Sefo. It's just, who cares, really? I mean, it doesn't really matter all that much. Overeem thinks his stand-up is better than it is. Sefo, kind of over the hill. I mean, he's, in the late stage of his career, new to MMA. Does he have the chops to do it? Sure, he can knock out Overeem. Overeem could probably take him down and sub him. I mean, that would be no surprise either. So either way, I don't think anybody should be surprised. I'll pick Ray Sefo by KO just because I think Overeem is going to get overconfident with his stand-up. And yeah, stand with him for too long. And Overeem's a 500 fighter. 500. That's what he is. 500 meaning, wins, losses, same level. Don't kid yourself, he is not one of the perennial favorites in this tournament. He is not his brother. Let's go to another one. Okay, another reserve fight. We got a lot of reserves in this one. Okay. Once again, pray that nothing happens to the main participants in this tournament. Shane Del Rosario against LeVar Johnson. Good fight. I like this fight because I think both guys are up-and-comers. Coming up off the Strikeforce Challenger Series, Del Rosario coming from basically a straight Muay Thai background. LeVar Johnson, mostly a boxer in this one, coming back off of getting shot, which you don't say every day. I think Del Rosario is the better fighter in this one. Overall, I just think he's better in the clinch. He's better off his back. I mean, LeVar Johnson is way too one-dimensional. He's huge. Don't get me wrong. He's huge and punches hard. Okay, good for you. What have we seen of him aside from that? Nothing. Del Rosario is good off his back. We've seen him triangle people. We've seen him win by omoplata. He has a good chin. He is hittable. Being a southpaw, he tends to leave himself open a lot. I think this comes down to the clinch. This fight, I think Del Rosario is better there. He may be a little undersized. He only weighs about 240-ish for heavyweight, and LeVar Johnson's gonna have the strength and size advantage in this one. So, LeVar Johnson, his cardio's never been tested. His ground game's never been tested. I don't think Del Rosario is going to have the wrestling to put it there, but I think he wins a clinch battle, wins knee battle, and, takes him out in the second round with a TKO. Andrei Arlovski against Sergey Kharitonov. A match that would be awesome. Awesome about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, this would have been for the heavyweight championship of the fucking universe, but it's not. Andrei Arlovski has looked fairly not good. I think one is because his questionable chin, and I think two, it's because it's gotten into his head that he has a questionable chin. And in his last fight, his chin wasn't the problem. It was the fact that he was laid back. He's not willing to throw the punches that he did earlier in his career and open himself up for a huge shot and get, tagged. So I think he fights reserved, and I think that's pretty bad. I think Kharitonov, yeah, he fought in K1. Does it really matter? Not really. He got wrecked by Jadeep Singh, who's means nothing in the K1 universe, and Kharitonov had been training strictly K1 up to that point. I think Kharitonov, he plods forward. He doesn't have a lot of movement. He stands right in front of you. He's got a good chin and huge power. Doesn't throw a lot of kicks, and he's going to rely on that power. He's okay grappler. I think, both guys, a lot of guys in Sambo backgrounds, on this card. But anyways, Sambo and Judo. But, Arlovski, he can win this fight. I think he just needs to use his speed advantage, like he did to Fedor. I mean, Fedor wasn't too long ago. It kind of wrecked his confidence, as Fedor does to pretty much everybody that he beats. But Arlovski needs to pick his angles, stay on the outside, use inside leg kicks like he likes to do, lead leg kicks, 1-2 combination, circle, and stay away from Kharitonov's huge power. I think he can do it. Do I think he is? I don't know. I mean, that's a way for Arlovski to win. He could also, rack up the points, and he does have huge power when he wants to throw, and if he can do that, I think Arlovski has more ways to win this fight. I'm just going to pick Kharitonov because I think Arlovski's confidence is shot. He's been sparring with, K1 veterans, and I think he hits Arlovski with a huge shot and finishes it. Don't ask me why. Kharitonov, late first round KO. Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor. It's Fedor time, baby. Love to see Fedor fighting. Everybody should. If you're watching my video, you should love to watch him fight. I mean, why wouldn't you? He's awesome. Against Antonio Silva. This fight is interesting. You know, Karsten did a video about how, Fedor's done the same thing that he's done his entire career. He's thrown caution to the wind. He's jumped into people's guards just at will with no reckless abandon from what he's there. He reinvented ground and pound against Big Nog, who was the number one heavyweight grappler at the time in MMA. He gets himself into precarious positions that you think he's going to lose, and he comes back from it. He got caught in his last fight, and I think it's very worth talking about that you can say that, is it just because he's lost the mystique of being an unbeatable fighter? Has he lost that? Has he just aged too much? And I talked about this in my Anderson Silva video, which clearly, he didn't lose it overnight. And they're around the same age, Fedor and Anderson. And, it's not that Silva doesn't present problems for Fedor, because he does. A lot of people do. Silva's a bigger heavyweight. I think Emelianenko is used to dealing with that. The bigger guys, obviously, he's used to dealing with weight because he's a small heavyweight himself. If he didn't like ice cream cones and so much that, he could make 205, but it's useless talking about that. Silva's a pretty decent puncher, and he's got pretty good jiu-jitsu. I think Fedor is better everywhere in this fight. I just think he's got the speed advantage. He's got good power. I think he's got the better top position game. My only worry is if Antonio Silva can put him on his back, which I think he can. It'd be interesting to work, Silva in his guard, working off his back, Fedor working off his back. Would be interesting. I don't know how this fight is going to play out. I just see Fedor winning every aspect of it, and I don't know if he's going to be able to finish Silva. I know Mike Kyle, tagged Silva pretty hard in his last fight. And I think Fedor has the power and the explosive and the speed to do that. And that's kind of what I see happening. I see him tagging Silva with a big shot. And if Fedor had Silva in the position that Mike Kyle did, he would finish him probably. Fedor's got very good finishing instincts. So that's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Fedor by second round submission, rear naked choke. Landed a huge shot. Silva goes down. They get into a scramble, and Fedor takes his back and chokes him out. So that's what I'm going to pick. Good tournament. Right? It's a tournament, right? So there's my picks for that card. Should be a good one. I have to work the entire weekend, but it's a positive. It's a positive when I get to watch a card like this. So, undercard, yeah. Right? Undercards for Strikeforce. But you guys stay metal. Later.